Cinematic wide shot of a prison visiting room. In the early morning fluorescent institutional light, bolted tables. A young attorney in his early bamweze sitting across from a man in his early samweze who walks with the specific upright bearing of someone for whom dignity is a practice, not a performance, the specific quality of a visiting room that has held 67 months of the same conversation. Both figures present and purposeful, a folder on the table between them. Documentary realism, the visual of a relationship built on 14 years of showing up featuring character. Marcus Webb, Arthur Gaines, match established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic warm medium shot of a middle school classroom in session. A teacher at the front treating history as a detective story, a student in the third row leaning forward with the specific quality of someone whose intellectual engagement has just been activated for the first time, then a second image. The same teacher and student in a car driving to a county archive on a Saturday. The student with a folder of photocopies of handwritten documents. The teacher waiting while the student works the visual of the relationship that makes 14 years of visits possible. Warm classroom light, then archive afternoon light. Documentary intimacy featuring character. Arthur against Marcus Webb match. Established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic medium. Wide shot of a courtroom. A financial expert at the witness stand explaining bank transaction records to a jury, the documents projected on a screen. The defendant visible at the defense table with the specific stillness of someone who is watching themselves be described as something they are not, and in the gallery, an 18-year-old watching with the specific focused quality of someone who knows something is wrong, but does not yet know what. Documentary gravity, courtroom fluorescent light, the visual of a conviction being built from real evidence, pointing in the wrong direction featuring character. Arthur Gaines, Marcus Webb match, established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic split composition left shows a young attorney at his desk late at night. Years of case files visible around a forensic accounting report. The specific quality of someone working on something that is not their job and has never stopped being their responsibility. Right shows a financial transaction diagram on a screen. The metadata analysis visible, showing an authorization terminal that is not Arthur Gaines's. The specific visual of evidence that was always there and was never looked for. Warm apartment desk, light versus cold analysis screen light. Documentary intimacy featuring character. Marcus Webb match established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic wide shot of a highway at dusk. A car driving 2 hours back from a prison toward a city. The landscape empty and the driver visible in the front seat, carrying the specific weight of a person who has been doing this for 8 years. Then an intimate medium shot of him at a kitchen table with his wife, a dinner between them, a conversation that is both practical and the most supportive thing available. Then back at his desk, still working, the case files open, the specific ongoing quality of someone for whom this work has never had an off switch. Documentary intimacy, evening into night light featuring character. Marcus Webb match established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic dramatic close-up of a forensic accounting report open on a desk. The key finding visible. A transaction routing diagram showing Arthur Gaines's account as a waypoint rather than a destination arrow leading through his account to Donna Chen's LLC, and a man reading it who has been waiting 8 years for exactly this diagram. His expressions showing the specific quality of someone who has just seen the complete shape of what was done and to whom and why. And a second image, a phone call. The specific quality of 2 attorneys who have just confirmed that the evidence is what they believed it was. Documentary gravity. The visual of a frame being seen for what it is featuring character. S. Marcus Webb established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic dramatic medium. Two shot of two attorneys on a phone call in the early morning. The attorney who built the case for 4 years and the professor who joined 2 years ago, both of them having arrived at the same conclusion from the same report. The specific quality of professional excitement managed by professional discipline. Between them, the shape of a scheme that used an innocent man as a frame and chose him specifically because he was vulnerable in exactly the right way. Documentary gravity. Early morning light on both sides of the call featuring character. S. Marcus Webb established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic split composition. Left shows a prison visiting room. The moment Arthur hears the full scope of what was found. The specific quality of a very composed person's composure beginning to relax for the first time in 8 years. Right shows a courthouse exterior. Two attorneys walking out into March sunlight after a hearing that went as hoped. The specific quality of 5 days being both very fast and still 5 days documentary warmth and gravity simultaneously. The visual of 14 years arriving at a courthouse step featuring character. At Marcus Webb, Arthur Gaines established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic warm final wide shot of a prison parking lot on a Thursday morning in April. A man in his early Samwise walking toward a man in his early Bamwise across the tarmac, the same upright bearing across 8 years visible in how he moves, and then a close-up of two hands shaking in a parking lot that is neither arrival nor departure but simply the space between an ending and what comes next. Then the interior of a car, a man watching the city appear on the horizon after 8 years of absence. The highway lights and the April morning light and the specific quality of something simply being present again. Documentary warmth. The full arc complete in a parking lot handshake and a car moving toward a city featuring character. Arthur Gaines Marcus Webb established character reference sheets for visual consistency. Cinematic warm final wide shot of a visiting room. In a different prison, the same fluorescent light, the same bolted tables, a different client across from the same attorney who has spent 14 years learning what it means to show up the folder open on the table. The attorney saying the same words he first said 8 years ago, close, and meaning them because he has always meant them. Because being close, when you have never stopped working. Documentary warmth. The full circle of a story about what it means to believe in something and what that belief eventually makes possible. The visiting room light the same as it always was. The person in it different. The work the same featuring character. S. Marcus Webb established character reference sheets for visual consistency.